Hello and welcome. In today's class, we are going to talk about an article or a short news story which appeared in VoA Learning English website. Now, VoA Learning English website is one of the most famous websites for learners of English who wish to learn American English. This article that I've picked for you today is about science and technology and is suitable for intermediate and upper intermediate learners of English language. We'll start by giving the title of this article. So the title of the article reads as "Scientists Study Chernobyl Fungus as Protection Against Space Radiation." Now there are a few terms which you might find unfamiliar or which you have not come across before. Words like fungus or space radiation, even Chernobyl are unfamiliar words, and I will just try to explain these words and terms and give you a good idea about the article so that once you read the article, it'll be easy for you to read it as well as to listen to it. And then you should be able to attempt the quiz at the end of the article quite easily. And I hope that you get all your answers right with that quiz also. The link to this article is also shared in the description box of this video. So let's just get back to the article once again. Let me repeat the title. The title says, "Scientists Study Chernobyl Fungus as Protection Against Space Radiation." What is fungus? That's one unfamiliar term. A fungus is a special kind of a plant, and the special thing about these plants or this plant is that it does not have leaves. Instead, it just feeds on the dead remains of living material or living things buried in the soil. So in a way, it is like how a vulture in birds function. A vulture would also feed on the dead remains of other animals. So in a very similar manner, fungus is a special kind of a plant that feeds on the dead remains of other plants and animals. Okay, the second important term that I'd like to talk about before you read this article is the word Chernobyl. Now, the word Chernobyl reminds me about one very famous nuclear accident that took place in the Chernobyl nuclear reactor, which is a reactor that was used to produce electricity by the use of nuclear power or energy. But unfortunately, an accident took place with this reactor, and as a result of it, much of this harmful nuclear radiation or nuclear rays, as you would call them, it leaked into the atmosphere, and because of this harmful nuclear radiation, human beings as well as other life forms were disturbed, and there were a few deaths also, and lots of people also reported suffering with some serious diseases as a result of this accident. Now, what is the connection between fungus and Chernobyl? What is the special connection between this plant, which does not have leaves and which feeds on dead remains of animals and plants, and this Chernobyl reactor where this very famous nuclear accident took place? In order to answer this question, let me tell you that after this disaster or accident at nuclear station in Chernobyl, the human life as well as other forms of life that lived around this reactor were seriously damaged. They were seriously and badly affected. However, scientists have found out over a period of time that there is one special uh, living organism that seems to have done very well in this environment which is full of nuclear radiation. And that particular living organism is this fungus, or this plant without leaves, which seems to live and thrive and grow very well in an environment which is full of nuclear radiation. And this is something which is completely opposite to how other living organisms behave. Why is this possible, and why is it that such plants like fungus, or a special kind of a fungus, is able to live in in such a poisonous or a toxic environment which is full of nuclear radiation? The explanation is also given by scientists, and they think that this particular fungus, which was found around the site of Chernobyl reactor, contains a very special substance which is called melanin. And this particular substance works in such a way so as to absorb the nuclear radiations from the environment and convert it into useful energy for the fungus. This is very similar to how an ordinary plant would take in sunlight and convert it into useful form of energy for it to grow. So this fungus is special because it has this ability to convert nuclear rays into useful form of energy because of the presence of this substance called melanin. Now, scientists have further researched on this Chernobyl fungus, as you may call it, and they think that this fungus, or this material, can be used to build shields or a protective coating for human beings to protect them against nuclear radiation. And that is because this fungus, it can absorb nuclear radiation very well. So this particular application of a Chernobyl fungus has many benefits or advantages in case if it is appropriately and suitably used to build a nuclear shield, because lots of astronauts and space travelers, when they go out into outer space, they have to face huge amounts of nuclear and other space radiations in outer space, of course, which can be very harmful to their health. And if scientists are able to produce a shield which can protect them against such nuclear and other cosmic or space radiations, that would be really very handy for these space travelers. Now, one last thing that I'd like to talk about this article is the use of term ISS, which is short form for International Space Station. And this particular space station is in collaboration with lots of universities here on Earth. And the space station itself is placed there out in space, and it continues to orbit around the planet Earth in a fixed orbit. There have been some experiments conducted on this very special Chernobyl fungus in this International Space Station, and scientists are convinced that this fungus, Chernobyl fungus, can be very helpful and useful in counteracting or reducing the amount of nuclear radiation that a human body is exposed to. So I think that is the overall composition of this article. Scientists think that this special fungus that grew around the Chernobyl reactor, especially after the accident in the Chernobyl reactor, and because this special Chernobyl fungus has been able to grow very well and absorb nuclear radiation, scientists see a window of opportunity where they can use this special fungus and its qualities to prepare or to construct or to build a special suit that can help space travelers or other people against nuclear radiation. You can read this article because its link is given here in the description box just below the video. And I'm sure that you're going to love this article, understand it, attempt the quiz given at the end of the article, and I think that would be a good way to increase your knowledge about this world as well as to improve on your language efficiencies. Thank you very much.